أنا الآن داخل قمرة قيادة B-52 ستراتوفورتريس، قاذفة نووية عملاقة تابعة للقوات الجوية الأمريكية. في هذه اللحظات نستعد لتنفيذ ضربة تدريبية، وفي أي ثانية ستنطلق 4 قنابل BDU-50 مباشرة فوق الهدف. هذا هو أقرب ما يمكن للوصول إلى قوة ودقة. إحدى أعظم القاذفات في تاريخ الطيران العسكري. في عالم تتغير فيه الطائرات بسرعة، تولد لمنطقة زمنية محددة ثم تستبدل. قليل جدا من الطائرات استطاع أن يتحدى الزمن، لكن B-52 ليست واحدة منها. قاذفة لا تشيخ. B-52 قاذفة استراتيجية بعيدة المدى، تحلق على ارتفاعات شاهقة وتحمل أسلحة تقليدية ونووية. صممت لحرب نووية لم تقع أبدا. قبل أن يطأ الإنسان سطح القمر وقبل انتشار التلفاز الملون، كانت هذه القاذفة تنفذ مهامها حول العالم. واليوم وبعد أكثر من 7 عقود ما زالت واحدة من أكثر الطائرات فتكا ورعبا. من الحرب الباردة إلى القرن ال21، في أواخر الأربعينيات ومع بداية الحرب الباردة، احتاجت الولايات المتحدة إلى قاذفة قادرة على ضرب أي هدف في العالم دون الاعتماد على قواعد أجنبية. عام 1250 كشفت بوينغ عن النموذج الأول YB-52، وبعد سنوات من الاختبارات دخلت القاذفة الخدمة رسميا عام 1955، وخلال 7 سنوات فقط تم إنتاج أكثر من 700 طائرة B-52. واليوم ما يزال نحو 75 منها في الخدمة الفعلية، أصغرها عمرا تجاوز 60 عاما. ومع برامج تحديث هائلة ستبقى هذه الطائرة في الخدمة حتى خمسينيات هذا القرن، بعمر تشغيل قد يتجاوز 100 عام. الوحش الضخم باف. عند الوقوف أمام B-52 تشعر وكأنك أمام مبنى طائر. طول يتجاوز 40 مترا، جناحان بعرض يقارب 56 مترا، ارتفاع يعادل مبنى من 3 طوابق، ولهذا أطلق عليها طياروها لقبها الشهير باف Big Ugly Fat Fellow، الضخم القبيح البدين، لقب محبب لأسطورة مخيفة. العمود الفقري للردع النووي. تلعب B-52 دورا أساسيا في الثالوث النووي الأمريكي. 1. صواريخ بليستية برية. 2. صواريخ تطلق من الغواصات. 3. قاذفات نووية جوية، وتميزها الحقيقي هو المرونة، قدرة على حمل أكثر من 70,000 رطل من الذخائر، سواء داخل حجرة القنابل أو على الأجنحة. ليست قاذفة شبحية، لكنها لا تحتاج لذلك، فقوتها في الكم والتنوع والاستمرارية. سد القتال مرعب. خلال حرب فيتنام أسقطت B-52 قنابل، تفوق ما ألقي في الحرب العالمية الثانية مجتمعة. وفي عملية لاين باكر عام 1972 نفذت أكثر من 700 طلعة خلال أيام معدودة، مغيرا مسار الحرب. 8 محركات. وثيقة مطلقة. B-52 هي الطائرة الوحيدة في العالم التي ما زالت تطير ب8 محركات. كل محرك يولد قوة هائلة، ووجود هذا العدد يمنح الطيارين ثقة استثنائية حتى في أسوأ الظروف. وقريبا ستحصل على محركات جديدة بالكامل لتدخل مرحلة جديدة تحت اسم B-52J، وقمرة قيادة من زمن آخر، لكنها لا تقهر. أداخل القيادة كل شيء يبدو تقليديا، أعدادات تناظرية، أنظمة قديمة، لكن هذا مقصود. B-52 صممت لتنجو من نبضة كهرومغناطيسية نووية وتواصل الطيران حتى بعد نهاية العالم. حتى معدات الطيارين تشمل نظارات خاصة تتفاعل خلال أجزاء من الثانية لحمايتهم من العمى الناتج عن وميض نووي. الضربة. نحن الآن في مسار القصف. الارتفاع، السرعة، الاتجاه، كل شيء محسوب بدقة متناهية. قنابل BDU-50 التدريبية تنفصل واحدة تلو الأخرى. الفرق بين النجاح والفشل أمتار قليلة. إحدى القنابل تخطئ الهدف ب15 قدما، خطأ غير مقبول لطواقم تطارد الكمال. القنبلة التالية إصابة مباشرة. ليست طائرة بل منظومة بشرية. B-52 ليست مجرد معدن ومحركات، إنها الطيارون، ضباط التسليح، الفنيون، عمال الذخيرة، ومجهولو الهوية الذين يضمنون أن تقلع وتعود بأمان. خاتمة. بعد أكثر من 70 عاما ما زالت B-52 ستراتوفورتريس تحلق، تدرب وتردع. طائرة ولدت للحرب النووية، لكنها بقيت رمزاً للواء والاستمرارية والهيبة. هذه ليست قاذفة عادية، هذه أسطورة تطير ما لا تراه الكاميرات. على ما تقلع البي 52 ما تقلع واحدة. خلف هذا الإقلاع سلسلة طويلة من التحضيرات تبدأ قبل ساعات وأحياناً قبل أيام. خزانات الوقود تملأ بعشرات الآلاف من الأرطال. أنظمة الملاحة تبرمج يدوياً، وكل مسمار وكل سلك يمر تحت أعين فنيين يعرفون هذه الطائرة كما يعرف الجراح جسد المريض. فالخطأ هنا ليس خياراً. طاقم من 6، عقل واحد. على عكس القاذفات الحديثة، البي 52 لا يقودها شخصان فقط. الطاقم يتكون من 6 أفراد: القائد، المساعد، ضابط الرادار، ضابط الملاحة، ضابط الحرب الإلكترونية، وضابط التسليح. كل واحد منهم مسؤول عن حياة الطائرة. والآخرين داخل القمرة لا مكان للفوضى ولا مجال للاجتهاد الفردي. كل قرار يتخذ جماعيا، وكل حركة محسوبة بالثواني. لماذا لم تستبدل؟ سؤال يطرح دائما. كيف لطائرة من خمسينيات القرن الماضي أن تبقى في عصر الشبح والذكاء الاصطناعي؟ الجواب بسيط ومخيف: لأن البي 52 قابلة للتكيف. كل عقد تقريبا تعاد ولادتها من جديد. أنظمة ملاحة أحدث، رادارات رقمية، قدرات حرب إلكترونية متطورة، وصواريخ تطلق من مسافات لا تحتاج فيها الطائرة لدخول نطاق. الدفاعات المعادية هي لا تقترب من الخطر، بل تجعله يقترب منها. ترسانة لا تظهرها الصور. ما تحمله البي 52 ليس مجرد قنابل تقليدية يمكنها حمل صواريخ كروز بعيدة المدى، ذخائر موجهة بدقة بالأقمار الصناعية، قنابل خارقة للتحصينات، وصواريخ نووية محمولة جواً. وفي النسخ الحديثة أصبحت قادرة على تنفيذ ضربات دقيقة كانت سابقاً حكراً على الطائرات الشبحية. الفرق أنها تفعل ذلك وهي تحلق لساعات طويلة دون توقف. صديقة السماء وعدوة الأرض. في السماء تبدو البي 52 هادئة ثابتة وكأنها لا تعجل، لكن على الأرض أثرها مختلف تماما. صوت محركاتها 8 يسمع قبل وصولها، وظل جناحيها يشعر من تحته بأن شيئا ضخما قادم. وفي الحروب كان مجرد إعلان وجودها كافيا لتغيير قرارات كاملة. فيتنام. النار الأولى. في فيتنام لم تكن البي 52 مجرد قاذفة دعم، كانت سلاحا نفسيا. عندما تظهر على الرادار كانت الوحدات المعادية تنسحب فورا، وفي بعض العمليات كانت القنابل تسقط كما لو أن السماء انفجرت دفعة واحدة. مساحات كاملة تمحى من الخريطة خلال دقائق. حرب الخليج. عودة الأسطورة. في حرب الخليج عام 1990 أعتقد البعض أن عصر البي 52 انتهى، لكنها عادت وبقوة. نفذت أطول طلعات قتالية في التاريخ، أقلعت من الولايات المتحدة، قصفت أهدافا في الشرق الأوسط، ثم عادت دون الهبوط. رحلة واحدة تجاوزت 35 ساعة طيران. الرسالة كانت واضحة: هذه الطائرة لا تحتاج أن تكون قريبة لكي تكون حاضرة. عقل إلكتروني داخل جسد قديم. في السنوات الأخيرة تحولت البي 52 إلى منصة حرب إلكترونية متقدمة يمكنها تشويش الرادارات، خداع أنظمة الدفاع الجوي، وفتح ممرات آمنة لطائرات أخرى. أحيانا لا تطلق قنبلة واحدة، لكنها تغير نتيجة المعركة بالكامل. لماذا يخشاها الخصوم؟ لأنها لا تختفي ولا ترحل. المقاتلات تأتي وتذهب، لكن البي 52 تبقى في الجو لساعات طويلة، تنتظر اللحظة المناسبة. وجودها يعني أن القرار بيدها وليس بيد من تحتها. التدريب الذي لا يعرف الرحمة. حتى في المهمات التدريبية المعايير قاسية. خطأ بسيط في التوقيت، فرق بسيط في المسار، يعني فشل المهمة. لأن الطيار الذي يخطئ في التدريب لن يحصل على فرصة ثانية في الحرب. المستقبل. رغم العمر، مع برنامج B-52J ستحصل القاذفة على محركات أكثر كفاءة، أنظمة رقمية كاملة، قدرات اتصال مع الطائرات المسيرة، وتسليح لم يكشف عنه بعد. الهدف أن تبقى ذات صلة حتى عندما تختفي غيرها. طائرة تفهم الصبر. البي 52 لا تعتمد على السرعة بل على الصبر. تطير ببطء نسبي لكن بثبات، كأنها تقول أنا هنا وسأبقى. ما بعد القنابل. عندما تنتهي المهمة لا احتفالات ولا ضجيج. تعود الطائرة إلى القاعدة، تطفأ المحركات وينزل الطاقم بهدوء. لكن ما حدث في السماء يبقى هناك. أسطورة لم تكتب صدفة. البي 52 لم تصبح أسطورة لأنها قديمة، بل لأنها نجت وتكيفت واستمرت. في عالم يتغير كل عقد هناك شيء واحد ثابت: هذه القاذفة ترفض المغادرة. مع كل ساعة طيران تؤكد البي 52 حقيقة لا يمكن إنكارها، أن بعض الطائرات لا تصنع فقط لتنفيذ المهام، بل لتفرض وجودها. هي لا تعتمد على المفاجأة ولا تختبئ خلف التخفي، بل تعتمد على فكرة أبسط وأقسى: الاستمرارية. أن تراها في السماء يعني أن القرار لم يتخذ بعد، وأن كل الاحتمالات ما زالت مفتوحة. في العقيدة العسكرية وجود البي 52 ليس ضربة فورية، بل تهديد دائم. هي الطائرة التي يمكن استدعاؤها اليوم وتبقى في الجو حتى الغد، تنتظر إشارة واحدة فقط لتتحول من ظل صامت إلى قوة نارية تغير مسار الأحداث. ما يجعلها خطيرة حقا ليس عدد القنابل ولا حجمها، بل العقل الذي يقودها. أنظمة تنوت كل تفصيلة، تتبع الأهداف، تحسب الرياح، وتسقط الذخائر بدقة تقاس بالأقدام. وفي عالم الحروب الحديثة الدقة هي السلاح الحقيقي. البي 52 لا تعمل وحدها، هي جزء من شبكة ضخمة: أقمار صناعية، طائرات استطلاع، مراكز قيادة بعيدة آلاف الكيلومترات. ضغط زر في غرفة مظلمة قد تعني قنبلة تسقط من سماء بعيدة في توقيت محسوب بالثانية. ورغم كل هذا التطور ما زال العامل البشري هو الأساس: الطيار الذي يجلس لساعات طويلة، وضابط التسليح الذي لا يسمح بالخطأ، والفني الذي يفحص الطائرة قبل الإقلاع وبعد العودة. كلهم يعلمون شيئا واحدا: أن هذه الطائرة لا تسامح الإهمال. شو عندما تنتهي المهمة وتعود البي 52 إلى المدرج، ألا أحد يصفق ولا أحد يرفع صوته. الهدوء هنا علامة نجاح. نجاح مهمة ربما لم يسمع بها أحد، لكن آثارها تكتب في تقارير وتدرس في كليات عسكرية. بعد أكثر من 70 عاما ما زالت هذه القاذفة تحلق فوق زمنها، رافضة أن تصبح مجرد ذكرى. طائرة صممت لحرب نووية، لكنها تحولت إلى رمز للقوة والصبر وطول النفس. وهنا ينتهي المشهد، لكن القصة لا تنتهي، لأن عالم القوة العسكرية أوسع وأعمق مما نراه فيه. الأخبار وما خفي منه أعظم إن كنت من المهتمين بأسرار السلاح وقصص الطائرات والقوة التي تدار من خلف الكواليس، فمكانك هنا في قناة القوة المطلقة. اشترك وتابع وكن جزءاً من عالم لا يكشف إلا لمن يبحث. ولا تنسوا الصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد. عدد ما حلق في السماء طائر، وعدد ما دامت القوة بيد الله وحده. Weapons and communication equipment on the jet. It's everything other than fly the jet current. 30 seconds to release, we are auto-unlocked. The Wizzo will handle all of the weaponing. All of the management of the weapons themselves. And actually actuating the buttons. Or the pickle switch right to release those weapons. Standing by release authority crew cleared hot. Downstairs you have the two Wizzos. On the right side is the navigator, who's typically the more junior, of the offense compartment. And on the left seat is the radar navigator. Who's gonna be the more senior? The reason they're the more senior is because they control the radar and all of the weapons as well as the targeting pod. So, the first thing I noticed when I sat down here, there's no windows. What's that like for you on 30-hour plus sorties? Not knowing whether it is exhausting. Light or dark, yeah, it's exhausting a lot of wizards, particularly new to the aircraft. Have a difficult time with sort of a feeling. Spatially disoriented, or with air sickness in particular. That's something that through exposure can sort of get trained out of you. And most of our students are. Most B-52 crew members end up overcoming that hurdle. Relatively quickly there's the bunk upstairs. Some people find places to hang hammocks. Some people spread out all the bags and cushions and lay down on the floor. Staying hydrated is a very important part as well, to keep the air sickness at bay. Now, when I said the crew of the B-52 includes the pilot, Co-pilot and whizzos, that wasn't entirely true. When you have a 60-year-old aircraft, weighing 185,000 pounds, it takes a lot more than just brakes to stop it. Upon landing, because the B-52 does not have thrust reversers, it deploys a drag chute out the back to help slow it down, while also minimizing wear and tear on the brake system. Part of that work starts right here at the parachute shop. So the B-52 will land, they will pop their drag chute. Maintainers will literally drag it across the flight line, like getting it all disgusting. They'll roll it up in a ball of mess, and then they'll literally drop it off. Right at our doorstep, we drag it in. We start untangling it. It is 90 feet long, 185 pounds. It has 48 suspension lines and 48 gores. So I've seen riggers pack normal parachutes, right, like the pilots wear when they eject. But nothing like this. I mean, this is what? Like 10 times the size. Yeah. Oh yeah, is it a pretty tedious process? Making sure this is packed away. It's pretty easy, it's just a workout. It's very labor intensive. We literally just stuff and jump on it, and doing everything we can to fit into the bag. So from start to finish, how long does it take to pack this? Depending on the repairs, it can take up to 30 to 45 minutes. That's pretty fast. Oh, yeah, not very graceful. You might have to grab a little bit more, 'cause it's all coming out. I feel like I made that worse. So, this is it. The completed 185-pound drag chute for the B-52. And after this, it goes to what? Get installed in the back of the aircraft. Yes, it does. The little things you don't think about. All the work that goes behind the scenes to get one of these aircraft safely landing. Welcome to 307 Munitions Assembly Operations Bay here. This is where we would build all the ordnance you may find loaded onto a B-52, so walk me through all the different ordnance and bombs that actually can be dropped from the B-52, 'cause I know there's a lot, right? We have plenty today. We're gonna be building the GB-31 version 1, but we also have the version 3, the 56, the 54, the 38, 12. We also have cluster bomb units. We have missiles and a plethora of others ready. Yeah, when I feel your rhythm, I get the same sign. You give me the courage, yeah, you're my lifeline, you. So, being a crew chief on a B-52, people compare it a lot to being a Jiffy Lube mechanic. Right, so we do tires, brakes, oil, but we also do the inspections on aircraft. First, we're gonna have to tie these down. We're gonna get our line, delivery section to come down here, hook up with the bobtail. They're gonna take it wherever it needs to go, whether it be storage or directly to the aircraft. And I would do it like that. People have worked on this plane for years and years, and being able to work on something with this much heritage means a lot to me. What is your choice? Now, one of the most interesting aspects of the mission we're flying today is that the crew is comprised of both active duty and Air Force reserves. If you haven't heard of the reserve, it's a unique opportunity that allows you to serve your country part-time, where you can also maintain a career in the civilian world as well. Runway 330 East. I thoroughly enjoyed my time on active duty, but the reserves is like a choose-your-own-adventure. What that allowed for me and my family is more predictable time at home. And also, I love to fly and I love to teach. So I get to do as much of that as I want to do. Students, we practice too. Here's what people can do is capable of the 30. 7th Bomb Wing here at Barksdale Air Force Base is pretty unique in that it allows airmen to work or fly on aircraft like the B-52 while also maintaining status as a reservist, giving them flexibility to stay in a location they call home, as well of tons of other benefits, such as healthcare and tuition assistance. 3.5 hours going over to Aerotrack. What's going on? The biggest advantages would be I was able to go back to school. I was starting a family at that time. So, it allowed me the opportunity to stay where I was at and bed down and create a lot for myself. If you're interested in applying for the reserve or learning more about the career fields that are offered, you can visit airforce.com/reserve or visit the link down in the description below. All right, so we've covered the history, learned from the pilots and crew, and got an up-close look at maintenance, munitions, and some of the support team. Meaning at this point, I think we're just about ready to get geared up for a flight. In the mighty Buff now, this isn't going to be your ordinary training flight, because as you can see behind me, maintenance is currently loading 4 BDU-50s so that we can go out to the range and conduct an actual bomb run. We're talking about one of the most powerful bombers in American history loaded up to give us a taste of why it's been the backbone of American air power for the last 6 decades. I hope you're ready for this one, 'cause it should be pretty fun. 21 to 22, expecting a performance speed down. Our normal B-52 ground operations, because of the complexity of all of our systems, we plan for about an hour and 40 minutes of checking systems before we actually exit the runway. But when we really need to get off the runway quickly, then they also developed the B-52 to have the capability to do cartridge starts. So that's where we would introduce a 8-inch cartridge. It's like a shotgun shell into the back of each of the engines with a simple flip of a switch. And we're starting all engines immediately. And we're ready to taxi in a very low, single-digit number of minutes. You guys can tie up any loose ends until then, or drop the kids off at the pool right. Truly is an honor being able to take this aircraft up, fly it around knowing what it is capable of, knowing that you are trained and equipped to execute that mission, if you truly have to, but also very thankful that nobody has been asked to ever do such a thing. In this aircraft before, we train often for the nuclear mission, so that we're proficient. But we hope that we never have to use it. 2 left and left, 3 left and left. Defense ready, offense. Let's go, boom. 70 knots, now that was timing. Coming up on 16.8 now. So you can, I guess. All this gear is just second nature to you guys. At this point, like, it's so overwhelming for the first-time flyer. Yeah. And fortunately or unfortunately, we're very used to checking each other over. 'Cause when we're flying with the brand new guys, that's like step 1 on the double ride. Like, we got 1 goal, have fun. Goal 2, strap in correctly. Unstrap correctly every time. Now, one thing you might have already noticed is that even though the B-52 is a bomber and not a fighter jet, the crew is still required to wear helmets and oxygen masks during what they call critical phases of flight. As a combat-coded aircraft, we're equipped with ejection seats, much like the B-1 is. Also a large aircraft that's combat-coded. They would have an increased need for the ability to egress the aircraft if they were to receive any type of damage. Depending on what phase of flight we were in, that meant taking off my parachute, removing my helmet, oxygen mask, visor and flight gloves, and then putting everything right back on. I probably did this over a dozen times. And because of how cramped the crew compartment is, with really no room to stand up straight, definitely makes things even more challenging. You're doing so much up here. While having to think about this, it's a lot, it's impressive. Not a lot of automation on this. And I've heard the B-52 is one of the hardest aircraft to aerial refueling. Is that true? Yeah. I haven't tried refilling anything else, but from what I hear, it is definitely one of the most difficult. And then one other challenge for us is that it's not something that you can easily practice in our simulator. So all of our practice generally comes from hands-on. On in the aircraft, the B-52 typically burns about 20,000 pounds of fuel per hour. And each one of those hours is going to get us somewhere between 400 and 500 miles. Adding aerial refueling virtually makes this limitless. The only thing that's going to prevent the B-52 from continuously flying is the endurance of the crew itself. One of the awesome recent benefits is we started doing virtual reality simulators with the B-52 air refueling, and that's really helped the students out a lot. So right here you can actually start to break out towards the forward part of the tanker's underside. Right there's a white line. There's a little antenna that bisects it, and that's a visual representation for the receivers that you're on. About a 30-degree azimuth on the rear of the tanker. I just slowly move forward almost like a walking pace. It's only a couple feet in reality. As we move into that envelope, we should be able to park it right here. You can reach overhead, and you can plug our aircraft contact. Take your contact. Now ideally, I just hold the center of this envelope for whatever period of time it takes to air refuel. Depending on what you're tasked to do, you could be taking on anywhere from just a couple thousand pounds to, I've seen as much as $120,000 in a single area, fueling at about 6,000 pounds of fuel per minute. They could take about 20 minutes or so in contact, just to get the feel right there. Wow. Free, do you have a Sam at home on board? Sure do. Very cool, got a couple of hands on board. Oh, hey Sam, say hi. Hey guys. It's Sam, don't tell the B-52 crew. But the 135 is my favorite airplane. That's what we like to hear, yeah. Oh, thanks for helping us out. Anytime, glad to help. Once aerial refueling was complete and the tanker crew cleared off, we began to plot a course for the bomb range, where we would soon be conducting our training run. But as I sat there in the instructor pilot seat of one of the most powerful bombers in history, there was one thought I just couldn't shake from my mind. A thought that kept creeping back in. What would things feel like in a real mission, with actual nuclear weapons loaded up on the B-52, and for the crew what must feel like? The weight of the world on their shoulders. In high-stakes moments like these, you'd expect every measure to be in place, ensuring the crew's safety down to the smallest detail. And as it turns out, there is one incredibly unique piece of equipment, one that most people don't even know exists. For a nuclear mission, one of our threats is a nuclear detonation and flash blindness, so one of the things that B-52 crew dog uses is PLISAs, stands for polarized LED lanthanum, zirconium, titanium, and goggles that we'd wear to protect ourselves from flash blindness. So even if you had a nuclear detonation 150 miles away, that could cause flash blindness up to 30 seconds. And the closer you get, the more it's going to damage the eyes, to the point where you might not even be able to see because of the material these goggles are made from. The lenses can darken within milliseconds of detecting a nuclear flash, providing instantaneous protection. And because they're fully integrated into the pilot's helmet system, it ensures that the crew can focus on the mission, instead of worrying about their vision in a worst-case scenario. First time I saw those pleasant goggles, it looked so dystopian. What's it like for you the first time you put them on? Yeah, it's surreal putting those things on. The visibility is relatively poor out of them, but at the end of the day, I certainly trust that they're going to be able to block out the light faster than I can, so that I'm able to continue flying this aircraft with a nuclear detonation in the background. And the goal is to hopefully never have to wear them. Right, that's right. B-52 has 4 different types of decent profiles that we can do this. Speed down is something that we use when we need to get to a low-altitude environment as quickly as possible. Whenever it's called for on the crew, or the pilot decides to do a speed down, they'll pull the throttles to idle and pull our air brakes up to maximum. Immediately push the nose over. In our case, 20 degrees, nose low to get into low-altitude environment. Strapped in, and ready. Here we go, send it. Brick 6, bricks 2. Our speed down maneuver definitely caught me a little off guard. The last time I did something similar to this was in our C-17 video when we did a tactical descent, and I think I got a little too comfortable, assuming this was a bomber that didn't have that much maneuverability. All right, October is set now. 3 Neocom 17 cutting the speed back through the air traffic. Roger, punch through the clouds. Well, boy, was I wrong, because as soon as the pilots initiated the speed down, going to around 1,000 feet AGL, I was practically floating out of my seat. A very similar feeling to the C-17. Officer, you're ready for a right-hand turn for the drive pass. Excuse me, officer. Affirmative, got it. For our bomb run today, we're employing BDU-50s, which is an inert version of a 500-pound Mark 82. There's no explosion for these, which allows us to train in a number of different airspaces that don't restrict us from high-explosive weapons. One of the most challenging things to drop is an unguided B-250, or Mark 82 requires a lot of precision, both in altitude airspeed and especially heading, to the order of tens of a degree of precision. Alright, so I'm now down here in the wizard compartment. This is where the show pretty much happens. During any sort of live drop, now I'll show you this cool screen they have that actually lets you sort of see the actual impact of the ordnance, so that's pretty cool. Station you got. Yeah, thanks, yeah, we've got a good fusion going on here. Between the radar screen, our moving map, and then the targeting pod MSED as well. Roger 6, I got Whiskey Cobra. 338-474-960-7 no. Mark East 1224 meters you. Respect overhead turn. Any mark restrictions, stop back there. Alright, clear that 2.1 release weapon away. Switch is safe. Splash, like. I got a splash, oh, close 15 foot. I remember the first time hearing that the miss was, I think 15 feet or so to the left. Which is kind of funny, because in a real-world environment, firing like a Mark 82 missing by 15 feet would definitely still accomplish the objective. But for our crew flying, they're chasing perfection. So they want nothing other than a direct hit. All right, crew, rinse and repeat of the last one. Any questions? Negative? Nope. Sweet, that's TV co. This next one is right too. Did you pass that affirmative, sweet, thanks? And Drew, that was a 15-foot miss, by the way. Wow, 15 whole feet, we can do better. Yes, every single weapon that you feel pushing off of the aircraft is going to cause just a tiny little bit of bank. As you start to feel those things plink off, stand by, release wings, level smoke. You on Roger Sport 033021. Release all 5-8 seconds. Switch is safe clear maneuver. Oh, direct hit, oh, nice shot job. It's a team effort, and hearing everything go down on comms, and then seeing it in person. It's pretty neat. It's Black Cat Scout 9-3 that was all we had today. We're in the climb like, gonna coordinate X for the area, thanks for the work. Yeah, drop the gear. Roger flaps 100% lever down pilot. 100% lever down. Social 165, 165, 165, as it was when they first started flying 56. Target trip 27 up. Brake 6 reset, brake south central. Well, that's definitely one for the books. The mighty B-52 Stratofortress. This thing first flew over 70 years ago. And all these years later, it's still doing its job. But it's not just about the airplane. It's about the people, the mission, the crew, and everyone who comes together to work on a platform like this. To Barksdale Air Force Base. Thank you so much for having me. I hope you guys enjoyed coming along for this ride. And that's it from here with the mighty B-52 buff. As the B-52 climbs away from the target, the mission is complete. But the weight of what this aircraft represents lingers in the air. The B-52 Stratofortress is more than a bomber. It is endurance, power, and deterrence. For over 70 years, it has stood at the core of American air power, evolving through generations, yet always ready, always lethal. This is not about speed or stealth. It is about presence, reliability, and trust. While modern bombers rely on invisibility, the B-52 relies on impact. Its deployment alone sends a clear message to allies and adversaries alike. Inside the cockpit, surrounded by analog instruments and manual systems, every action is backed by decades of training and discipline. Generations of crews have flown this aircraft, passing down knowledge that keeps it flying, precise and deadly. With new engines, upgraded systems, and modern weapons, the B-52 will continue to dominate the skies well into the 2050s. It is not a relic of the past. It is an active force for the present and a symbol for the future. As the landing gear touches down and the drag chute slows this massive machine, one thing becomes undeniable. The B-52 Stratofortress is unmatched, unstoppable, and unforgettable. Designed for the unthinkable, maintained by experts, flown by crews who bear the weight of responsibility, it proves that true power endures. If you want more exclusive military stories, behind-the-scenes access, and insights into the world's most powerful machines, subscribe now to the Absolute Power Channel, قناة القوة المطلقة. Turn on notifications and stay ready, because absolute power never fades. I'll catch you next time.